Hi, this is Jessica Bittman with the Greater Wilmington Convention and Visitors Bureau, and this is the Women's History Edition of Bits and Bytes. Today we are at the Hagley Museum and Library, which you may know of as the original DuPont company and the original family estate, but we're going to dive a little deeper in today, where we're going to learn about Louside du Pont Crowninshield, who is one of the pioneer women of creating Hagley to be what it is today. And then we're also going to learn about the new exhibit coming called the Nation of Inventors and some of the women inventors that'll be included in that exhibit. Let's go find out more. Okay, we are at Hagley in their room of patent models, and I'm with Caroline, who's the curator of collections. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I am great. So I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about the patent models, but first, let's dive in a little bit about Louside Crowninshield.
Sure.
I would love our viewers to know a little bit more about her story.
Absolutely. So Louside du Pont Crowninshield, she was the last resident here at Eleutherian Mills, the residence, the DuPont ancestral home. And she was an avid collector. She was very, very active in the historic preservation field, so much so that she was actually a founding member of the National Trust for Historic Preservation.
Really?
And their top award today still is named after her.
Really, that's incredible. And at what time frame did she live here, and how did she contribute to the legacy of Hagley?
Sure. So she actually started restoring Eleutherian Mills, our residence here at Hagley, after the DuPont Powder Works operations ceased around 1921. So it was really her first foray into historic preservation here at Hagley. So she restored really a neglected house, and she filled it with objects from her ancestors, her DuPont ancestors, but also just things that she loved collecting. She was a huge collector, and she loved the colonial revival style.
Incredible. Now, I also know that she developed this garden that has been been brought back to life as of recently and still is. And so can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So when you come to Hagley and you visit the residence, Eleutherian Mills, and you go out onto the piazza, you'll be able to look down upon this garden that right now is not restored. But in the years to come, we hope to really restore this back so that visitors can see the vision that Louside had for this property. It was a classical ruin garden. So there were these Italianate columns and pools and statuaries and just really beautiful things. And this garden was on the site of the black powder refinery that was there. So some of the garden ornaments are actually like copper kettles from when the refining process was happening there.
That's really cool, and I've heard that they've been kind of excavating and finding some really fun little things inside.
Absolutely, and even flowers that are starting to bloom again now that some of the brush has come away.
Amazing. Now let's talk a little bit about some of these cool things in front of us and behind us. Can you tell us a little bit about the collection?
Sure. So Hagley has the world's largest private patent model collection. We have close to 5,000 patent models. And here in front of us are just two that you'll be able to see in our upcoming exhibition, Nation of Inventors.
Wonderful. Now, if I wasn't really familiar with the whole patent model world, can you tell me a little bit more about what it is that we're looking at?
Sure. So in Nation of Inventors, you'll be able to learn all about the U.S. patent system history from its beginnings all the way through the 19th century. So when you submitted an application for a patent to the patent office in the 19th century, you had to send in your drawings, your specifications, but also a scale model of what you were trying to patent.
Wonderful. And then what do we have here?
Sure. So the first one, this is a improvement in machines for sewing straw braid. This was invented by Mary Carpenter, and she would have used this in her company to make things like hats and bags. And she actually had 16 patents in her lifetime. Really amazing. And another little interesting tidbit is that she had two male business partners who decided they wanted to infringe upon her patent. And she brought a court case against them, and she won.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it. What a Viking.
Absolutely.
Now tell us about this other one here too in front of us.
Sure. So this one is from woman inventor Emily Evans Tassie. She lived in Pittsburgh, so she was extremely aware of the shipping problems, marine problems. So this is a invention for the propulsion of vessels. And Emily Evans Tassie, she ended up having 5 patents in her lifetime.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I know that in 2022 at some point we're going to be able to see this amazing exhibit, and how can they learn, the different, I know there's a section about women in the exhibit. Can you tell us a little about that?
Absolutely. So one thing we really wanted to do with Nation of Inventors was tell the story behind the inventors, what their motivations were and what their life experiences were like. So on the second floor is where we really delve into the diversity of inventors in the United States during the 19th century. So of course that included women. So we have a whole section on women, and these 2 patent models will be on display so you can get a closer look there. But women in the 19th century, I think some people assume that they were probably inventing in the domestic sphere, which is true and which is so important as well, but they were also inventing in the marine industry, the medical industry, transportation industry. So whatever the men were doing, they were doing too.
I love it. Well, I love that you're giving an avenue for these women to shine and to inspire other young women to be inventors, and I can't wait to see the exhibit.
Great, we can't wait to welcome everyone here.
Well, thank you for having us here, and we'll see you next time.
Great, thanks.
Hope you enjoyed our series on Women's History Month. There's a lot of amazing women in Delaware's history. There's also some women who are still leaving their legacy today. You have Tatiana Copeland, who is leaving an impact with cultural arts in the area, or B.B. Coker, who continues to advocate for racial equality and education in children. It's inspired me as I learn about these women to leave my own legacy, and I hope we've inspired you to leave yours. If you want to learn more about the series or the women of our area, you can go to www.visitwilmingtonde.com/herstory. And we'll see you next time on Bits and Bytes.